1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and welcome back to the TMCJ PodCast. We are on episode 13. Some would say a lucky number, some would say an unlucky number. We'll see how well this goes.
Deals.
We actually started this. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No. I was just gonna say. Also, I already fucked it because I started the recording a second before you did by accident.
Whatever. I'll fix it in post.
Sounds
I actually we were in the middle of a conversation just before this started. I was like, you know what, this is actually something interesting that I kind of want to talk about a little bit. I was mentioning that a lot of these videos and the podcast itself, when it goes up, doesn't really have an outro. It doesn't. We have that little jingle at the beginning that opens it up, and on the YouTube channel we have like a little thumbnail going in with it, the special ones for the full podcast. We don't have an outro. We don't have an outro music or anything like that. And Blue was just mentioning cheesy voicemail recordings and things that people would do.
yeah, they are horrible to listen to, but a lot of people have them, unfortunately.
I mean, my family did them. We had our dog in ours because he would bark for the.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's kind of adorable, though. I appreciate that.
It was actually only partially planned because my mom was recording it and she was like, "You've reached the voicemail box of blah blah blah, the home of and says all three of our names, and then the dog barks and she's like, "Oh, and Poppy," and it fit really well, and that was our voicemail for like 10 years. But it made me think of. Did you ever watch the show Seinfeld?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay. My dad loved the series, and so I watched it a lot growing up, and I ended up really loving the series. It's kind of one of those hit or miss things. People either think it's a comedy classic or people hate it.
Right.
But there's an episode where one of the guys just decides he's sick of answering people's calls. Like, he doesn't like people. For some reason, he's trying to avoid people's calls. And so he ends up doing like a full musical answering machine call. So it opens up and it's got like this big opening musical number, and he's just sitting next to the phone listening to it, like bobbing his head along. It's like I can't remember how it begins, but the main chorus is like I must not be home or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home. And that's it. Like, he just that's the whole voicemail, and it's when you started talking about recording cheesy voice messages on answering machines, that immediately popped into my head.
I imagine you'd be the kind of person to do something similar.
I have done that before. Like, I don't if I know the number, I'll typically pick it up. I've recorded voicemails entirely in Spanish before. I've recorded them as what was it? I think one of them was, "Hi, you've reached the residence of Kaiser." I didn't even use my real name. On my cell phone, I was like, "Hi, you've reached Kaiser." If I didn't pick up the call, I probably didn't want to talk to you, and that's it. that was the whole voicemail. I've made some pretty sarcastic ones or creative ones.
It's fine until work tries to call you, and then you're like, "Oh."
At the time, I was a college student, so it didn't matter.
Oh, did my voicemail call you a bitch? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't control that guy.
See, I don't have that problem anymore because I have a separate work phone.
I see.
Turn down. This actually was not one of the topics I had written down. I just thought it was a good way to open us up.
Well, we just kind of started talking, and that's just how all these things happen, really.
It is, yeah. That's how this podcast happened.
I just got home from Bristol, and there was this person on the bus who they got on, and I was like, "Oh, they got a cool hat." It was like a rabbit-looking thing. It had like a cute face on the front of it. It had ears, and it had like two paws dangling down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And like a minute later, one of the ears on the hat starts flicking up, and then the other one does as well.
Wait, what?
And I realized this person has a hat where I think if you squeeze the paws on the hat, then the ears flap up.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. But we're in the middle of like lockdown, and I'm not going to approach this person and start talking to them.
Oh my god.
But it was adorable. I should have taken a photo, but again, I didn't really want to start filming people on the bus that I don't know.
Hey, your hat's pretty cool. Can I film you?
If it was America, then hell yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Depending on the person, they might punch you in the face.
Oh no! This was like, I don't know. It wasn't. I was about to say it wasn't a skinhead. Not saying that skinheads are aggressive, but several of them are. No, this was a sweet little person.
All right. So, to transition from something positive to something somewhat more negative and controversial.
Oh dear. We got 5 minutes in. Let's go.
one of the topics I have written down, the first topic I have written down is PlayStation 5. They're planning to spy on children.
Okay.
They've...
I think I might have heard something about this.
Now, I don't know what's developed since... I heard about it earlier in the week, and I didn't dig too deeply into it myself. I just got the gist of it. In their new terms of service leaked, and for the PlayStation 5, and the controllers have microphones in them. What
they
they're...
did the PS4.
Yeah, but with the PS5, what they're saying is they want to have the microphone always on and always monitoring, in the same way that like the Kinect did for the Xbox, or the way they wanted the Kinect to work for the Xbox.
Right.
But that was controversial too, and they're justifying it by saying, we're doing it to protect, people from people saying mean things or something like that.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
Like, what if you're not actually in voice call and you're just swearing generally? Because I think everyone does it. If
that's
they're alone in a room.
Or what if you're in it? What if it's just like a custom game? It's just you and me playing a game, and I call you something very untoward.
Yeah, but I'm fine with it because we're used to just chatting rubbish to each other.
Now,
man, that'd be so bad. Imagine if it was a single-player game.
Yeah.
You're playing Doom and you're like, die, you demons from hell. And the game's like, nope, I think you're too aggravated for this game. We're taking it away from you.
The amount of horrible, vile shit I say to things in single-player games.
Yeah.
It's because it's just a computer. There's no one on the other end. But the thing is, This is my hot take, because I think that that's their excuse, that they're trying to protect people from nasty words.
Yeah.
In reality, they're probably doing what the Xbox originally wanted to do with the always-on Kinect, and that became controversial, and they cut it off. But the idea was they would monitor people's reactions in certain parts of games, single-player and online, and then sell that data, that harvested metadata, to game developers.
Right.
So what the Xbox tried to do, that with people's heart rate, because the Kinect has a infrared sensor in it, and they used it. Oh my god, I'm hiccuping. They used it pretty extensively because the Xbox had Kinect workout things, and I actually used them when they came out and when they were popular, and they're pretty good workouts. And it would monitor your heart rate, and you could see what your heart rate was, and it would show an infrared camera. But Xbox wanted that to always be on, so they could go hey, look, this person their heart rate's going up in this horror game at this part, and they sell that data to developers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems... I mean, of the two choices of either... imagine you're in a room, right? And it's one of these... you have to do one or the other. If the choice was get sworn at a lot when I play games, or be watched through cameras forever, I think I know which is the bigger of the two evils, which I certainly do not want. So, them saying that it's for our own safety, yeah, but if it was for our own safety, it wouldn't be part of the terms and conditions. It would be an option or something. Maybe have it so it's a setting you can turn on. So they can...
That setting already exists. It's called mute.
I mean, true. Well, can you just Can you?
Just mute people in game? Yeah.
No, but mute yourself to the people listening in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay. That's right. I thought it was like a constantly on thing that...
it is for Sony. So the idea being, and again, this was the way I understood it from what I was reading, was that
Right.
like it would function normally in game. Like, you could mute other people, they could mute you, you could mute yourself, you could unplug the headset, whatever. But the controller had a mic that was always on, that was always being monitored by
Yeah.
Sony or some contract company
Yeah.
or whatever. That was the fucked up bit, because you could not turn that off.
Yeah. It's kind of like... You know when you get like a game crashes on the PC and it's like, oh, do you want to send a report?
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, no, we are sending a report, and you can't do shit.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember when you left your PlayStation on and decided to,
Have a friend around or something.
yeah, you guys were talking about some personal shit? Oh yeah, Sony knows about that now.
Yeah.
Now, I seriously doubt it's that extensive, and there are laws around this that means they couldn't harvest, like, tagged metadata. It'd have to be all anonymous. It's
Yeah.
still fucked up. And more than that, I find it fucked up that they're doing that sort of thing without compensating the user base in any way. Like, I wouldn't mind signing up, like, opting in and saying, yeah, sure, mine my metadata, but, give me a free game. Or, like, pay me.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, exactly. Give me like a discounted or free PlayStation Plus membership, and
Take it back to the good old days of the PS3 when the fucking online was free. That's something that is what drove me away from consoles.
yeah,
is the constantly having to pay every single month.
yeah, blame Xbox for that.
Yeah, bro. I mean they started it, but at the same time,
Yeah. Although I will say that back in the day when I like Xbox Live for the price it was for the online, especially in the era of the Xbox 360 when I was in high school and college, like, oh my god, it was Xbox Live was the shit. You really needed to know people. Like all my friends were playing it too. So
yeah. I mean it's kind of pointless if you don't know people.
yeah. Nowadays, I think I could probably turn my subscription off and not really notice it. Because I don't really play online on console anymore, at least.
I did buy a PS4, partially just to get Tetris on it. But there was a couple of other games I got, and the only reason I got PlayStation Live was to play Red Dead Redemption online with Massey.
Yeah. Right, I remember this because I got it for the Xbone. And I couldn't play with you guys.
You could?
Could not.
Oh, could not. Right, yeah, okay, sorry. And... yeah, that was... I mean, Red Dead Online turned out to be a complete disappointment compared to the single player. And so I just stopped paying for online. There was no other point in doing it. The free games they give away are generally pretty bad. And if I want a free game, I'll just go to the Epic Game Store on PC.
Yeah.
Besides that, console games are generally very expensive. And I don't have like a super 4K monitor, so I can't even get the most amazing shit anyway.
Well, you've just like given me a perfect segue into the next topic I have on my list, full priced like next gen games. Another fucked up practice that's starting is they're putting full on advertisements in AAA like games, like not product placement. That's always been a thing. Say, like you're swinging around a post apocalyptic city and you see a pristine billboard that says "Drink Coke."
Like, yeah, I was good. Everyone goes with Coke, yeah. New Coca-Cola, whatever you want.
Yeah. But in now, no, they're legit. I think it was NBA 2K or whatever the series is. I don't play sports video games because NBA's
basketball, right?
Yeah, it is. But in the game, Now it's a PS5 game, so it's coming out. It's $70 or PS5,
Oh,
Xbox
Jesus,
One X.
$70.
They've increased the price by $10 for AAA titles.
Ouch. I remember when £30 was too much for me
Yeah,
to buy a game.
yeah, it's fucked
Oh.
up. Now some developers aren't doing that, but they're trying to push the price of games up by another $10. Um, I think it's stupid, and it's just another reason not to play too many console games or to buy them on sale. Either way, in this game, what they're doing is like in loading screens, they'll be like, "Here's a loading screen," and then after the loading screen, here's an ad for like shampoo or something like that, or Gatorade or whatever.
Wow.
It's a legit commercial just in the
Oh my
game,
God.
and
I
because
thought
the
you were gonna.
game's sorry.
I thought you were gonna say like the bleachers, the sides of the court would
No.
have ads on them,
No.
like they do in real life.
That's fine. Like that's perfectly fine because in sports games, I'd argue that even contributes to the ambiance, right?
Yeah. It
Because
makes it
that's what it's like in an
realistic.
actual sports stadium. You got ads everywhere.
Mm.
But in but no, they're legitimately putting commercials into the game.
Yeah. That's kind of weird. Are they at least like properly aimed commercials? Like, I
Potentially.
know you said. Did you actually say is the shampoo a real thing in the?
Oh, I just
basketball
made that
game?
up. I have no idea. I
Okay.
imagine it's stuff like Gatorade and power bars and shit like that.
Yeah, probably energy drinks and other stuff that people really don't need in their lives.
Yeah.
God, that's kind of scary. And at some point, there's gonna be an advert for one of these, CS:GO-esque gambling sites. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the game, probably that it's being played on.
Now what I and the thing these games are already monetized to all hell, and
Yeah.
they're full price $70, and they come out once a year, so it's not like you can even get them super discounted because they come out every single year. So by the time it gets discounted, the next one's already out. So if you want to play with your friends or whatever, they got the newest one. You got to get the newest one. So,
Yeah.
but then on top of that, they're throwing commercials into them. I just, at least if they're gonna put commercials in it, like maybe sell like a $70 copy with no commercials and like a $30 copy with commercials.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And in fact, I would be happy to buy a game with commercials for a lower price. I would
Yeah.
be very happy to do that.
I mean, if that, I think I'd do that with some games. I mean, there's some games that I care about a lot more that I'd probably pay full price for just to avoid the commercials. But but like a game like that, yeah, fuck it. I'll get the cheapo commercial version.
It's just a low blow.
And again, it goes back to the whole like PlayStation always listening to people thing. It's like if you're going to monetize people's data, if you're going to monetize people, then they should either get a cut. They should get a cut somehow, right? Either they're buying the game at a discount or they get some free shit. I think there's another video game that legitimately did this. They put commercials in game, but they gave you in-game rewards if you decided to watch them. Like you could skip them,
Right.
and if you didn't
Sort of like on a
skip
phone
them,
game.
yeah. I don't. It may have been an MMO or something like that. But if you decided to watch a commercial, you got some in-game currency. And even that's better than what this is. This is just legit full-priced game. They've got commercials in it, and you get nothing. Like, and it's not even like it's not even something like an MMO or a competitive game where like I don't know, they have to constantly maintain it. It's a single player or local multiplayer game that's going to be gone within a year when they release the next version. So there's no reason for them to have to charge, like to have to build up even more money for it. I don't know. It seems insanely fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's not my world anyway. Like I said, I don't play sports video games really.
No, I'm not a fan. There was something I found out recently, which I had no clue about before. This is sports related, not so much game related.
Mm.
Do you have like a um, a military like flyover before every football game?
I don't
That
think it
is
happens.
American football.
I don't think it happens before everyone, but it does happen. Yeah, I think that they do it at the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, and I'm
Man,
pretty
that
sure
sounds
they,
really cool.
yeah, yeah, they get like jets and stuff flying over, and sometimes they get the colored, you know, mist behind them,
Right.
uh, little streams, red, white, and blue, and all that. Yeah, they do it. And again, I don't. It's not everyone, but they do it at like big games.
Yeah. No, I saw some of the I was watching Angry Cops
Hmm.
because there was a bit of outrage recently that a couple of American football commentators were like, "Well, that's where your tax dollars are going, guys." You know,
What, to the
look at how
military
they're
flyover?
wasting. Yeah, they're complaining about the flyover at the football game. Um,
Fuck off with that shit.
yeah, I don't know.
It's that attitude. Like this is what pisses me off about that attitude, and I'm going to use a comparison that most people can understand to kind of illustrate this. That same attitude is the attitude that you have when you work at a company, right? And they're looking to cut back on like money, like cut back on funding, it like
Yeah,
save money in the budget somewhere, and they're like, well, you know what? We don't need a team building outing. We don't need to, buy people lunch during these long hours. Yeah, let's cut back there. They cut, like, the people who think that way are the same people who will cut back, like, benefits that boost morale, like, in an office building.
yeah,
It's like, yes, it costs money for them to do that flyover, but it also is, it's a big thing for, like, it's like a PR thing, both for the military that's doing the flyover, and for the sports games. Like
yeah.
it kind of it builds that spirit. It lifts people's morale, like both for the people doing the flyover and for the people watching it. And
And
people,
I mean, people go there to be entertained. So I mean,
yeah,
you're expending money to entertain people anyway. The football teams themselves would obviously cost far more than the probably the price of the flyover.
yeah, the flyover is
So I
going to
mean,
be, probably at most like $100 grand, maybe
right.
maybe a couple $100 grand. Those jets
Yeah, make
aren't.
a spectacle of it.
Hmm?
But yeah, make a spectacle of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, yeah, you're right. If they're doing it for every single one, then okay, maybe that's a bit excessive. But at the same time, yeah, why don't we just cancel every parade? Parades are a waste
Yeah.
of money. Fuck, why are we having the football games in general? Cancel them. Why do we have these commentators? Fire them. Like, there's no depth you can't go to if you just want to, cut fun.
Yeah. And no, yeah. So there was some clips of a whole bunch of different flavors, and there was like Chinooks. There was a goddamn like stealth stealth bomber, stealth jet. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, stealth jet. Stealth. I mean, that's
Yeah, that looks so cool. It looks so cool.
talking about the triangular one with all the angles and
yeah,
shit, right?
the
Yeah.
stealth bomber. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking
Um,
about.
And yeah, it had like jets, had crop dusters, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, man, I wish we had that in this. I mean, we have the red arrows in this country, which are, I think, they're red fighter jets, and they do, smoke trails and all that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's pretty damn rare to see them. I haven't seen them in several years.
Yeah, we
Um,
get a lot of that over here. Sometimes they do it at like county fairs and stuff too. Not to the same extent, but they might have like one jet or something doing a flyover.
Yeah. But no, that
pretty
was
cool.
just one of the stories that I heard about
Yeah.
this week.
Oh my god. We started this off so positive, and then it's just been, hey, look at these two controversial things in video games, and now look at these two spoil sports.
Yeah. Well, everyone's going to,
Well,
to
why don't
profit
we?
here.
Well, the last topic I had written down is also kind of negative. Although, I personally think it is a positive. But there's an antitrust lawsuit against Google in the U.S. right now.
Right? Oh my god, more big companies who are doing dodgy looking stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to break up Google. They're saying they have what is essentially a monopoly in
Right.
several industries,
Yeah.
and so there's an antitrust investigation going on against them in the U.S. right now.
Which industries in particular do you know?
The one that I remember being cited was search, but they're also investigating video, so YouTube essentially. And what may end up happening is Google being split off from YouTube and potentially Google's search um, monopoly being either broken up into smaller companies, the same way they did with AT&T back in the 80s
Sorry.
or 90s.
Yeah.
Also, Gesundheit.
Thank you. So does Google own YouTube then?
It does, yeah.
Uh,
In fact, I
um,
think YouTube is. Yeah, I don't think YouTube makes any money. Like, I think they either break even or go slightly negative with YouTube.
really?
Yeah,
What are
but
they spending all that money on?
I don't know. I think just maintaining it. Uh, but yeah,
What they
so
need to do is they need to get rid of all their coffee machines, take people off of their lunch breaks.
everyone gets unpaid overtime.
Yeah.
No more fancy office buildings. We're gonna, I'm sorry. We
Shipping
like our
container.
office in California, but we're gonna move it to like the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I oh my
Uh,
god.
it went circle. Um, so, you said search. Do you mean just like as a search engine?
Search engine, yeah. I mean, because
Okay, I mean,
at
because
the
there
moment,
are other competitors out there for that.
yeah, there's Bing.
There's Microsoft. There's
Yeah, that's Microsoft. Bing's the only real one because most of the other search engines are powered by Google.
really Firefox.
Well, Firefox is a browser.
Right.
I'm talking about search
Okay.
engines.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think there's any indication that they're being that there's a claim that they have a monopoly on browsers because you've got Microsoft Edge, you've got Chrome, you've got Firefox, you've got Safari, all the various Linux ones. There's plenty of different browsers out there, so I don't think they're
Yeah.
saying Chrome is a monopoly, but they're talking about search engines. So, like,
What about what was it, GoDaddy or something?
I'm pretty sure it's powered by Google.
Oh. Rip.
I, I haven't verified that, but the only one I know of for certain that's not powered by Google's search algorithms is Bing.
Okay. Well, I mean, then it's not. I mean, if Google did something terrible and everyone hated them, then they'd have a place to go. So it's not really a monopoly.
It's true. It's true, but you don't have to control 100% of the market to be considered a monopoly in the US. You just have to prove that um, essentially you control how the market functions. I think I'm not a lawyer. I should point that out. Um, but like for instance, when AT&T got broken up, AT&T is the last big one that I can think of, and it happened either in the 80s or 90s. I want to say maybe it was before that, but they essentially had what was essentially a monopoly on the telephone lines in the U.S. and they got broken
Right.
up into 6 different companies, um, just in different regions. And I don't think it's not like there weren't other telephone companies. I think there were, but they were just insignificant compared to AT&T.
Yeah.
They were the only real competition on the market.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose like I don't know. I'm just thinking of big companies now.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising how many. Like Google isn't even like the top of it. If you go up from Google, they're owned by a company called Alphabet.
Right.
Um, then
Damn.
like this is where it gets like, God,
Illuminati.
yeah. Well, this is you can go down a big rabbit hole with this. Like a ton of like companies that you think of as separate are really owned by like one overarching corporation.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I could talk about that for a while. I don't know a ton about it. Like I know like surface level that yeah they're owned.
Yeah.
What that means in practical terms, I have no idea. Um, I'm
I mean,
I'm not a
that's
tinfoil hat person that thinks that that means that the whole world is controlled by one company.
I feel like
Um,
once you do have a monopoly, the only other place to expand up is to start just buying other industries.
and that's honestly what Google and Amazon have been doing, both of them.
Yeah.
Like Amazon started out as a fucking online book company, but now they're like they control most like server storage and cloud storage. Like a lot of things are hosted on Amazon's cloud service. They have their video platform. They have their music platform. They have God. They have their own delivery company now, Amazon Logistics. Google's done the same thing. They expanded into YouTube. They've got all this AI, all these AI companies and things like that. I just
Next,
you're
they'll be
right.
buying the ice cream companies, and we'll be eating Google cream.
Now, one
That'll be
company that hasn't done that, and this is weird, I found this out a couple years back, is Apple. They have pretty much stayed to roughly the same industry, but they have something like they have several $billion in assets in cash. Sorry, not in assets, in cash that they're just sitting on. Like
I mean,
and
they have.
they don't spend it, they don't reinvest it, and they don't move it into the US because then it would be taxed. So they just sit on this like dragon's hoard of money. They don't actually use it to expand into anything.
They do have a fairly broad range, though, if you think about it, because obviously there's the PCs and the phones.
Mhm.
Um, but then with the phones, they've also expanded pretty hard into the music side of like the iPods.
Right.
Uh, Although I guess they've kind of, I mean, have they released a new iPod in recent years? Because
No, it's just all
it's all just
iPhones, I think.
iPhones.
I don't think
Yeah.
they do they even still make iPods?
Uh, Maybe, I don't know. I feel like iPod Nanos are pretty good. Those
Oh
little
my god.
tiny little squares.
They do.
Yeah.
But it's literally just the iPhone without the ability to use it as a phone.
Well, nobody uses phones as phones these days.
The new iPod Touch, $199. It's literally just a phone that you can't call people on.
Right. Yeah.
I fucking hate Apple. Although I do I don't know. I hate Apple because their devices are nearly impossible to customize or fix. I used to
Hmm.
work in IT in college, and whenever somebody would bring down a MacBook and be like, "Can you fix this?" I'd be like, "No, you have an Apple," and that would be like we had some people that would do it, but you had to like know how to get into the root menu and actually like mess around behind the scenes of
Yeah.
the OS to actually
They
fix them.
they really make Apple products so that only the people who made the product can tweak it.
Yeah.
Um,
And they do it for two reasons. Like one, they're like people who aren't tech savvy can use Apple products reliably and not break them
mm,
because they make them nearly impossible to customize or fiddle around with, under the hood. So, if you don't know anything about technology, Apple is the perfect thing for you. But
yeah.
if you like customizing them in any way, shape, or form, they suck.
Yeah. Um, there was a YouTube channel I used to watch briefly, and it's basically this guy who owns a tech repair shop.
Yeah.
And whenever he gets an interesting job in, he'll record what he does.
Yeah.
and he had a client come in once. Well, it happened a few times, but someone came in and said, "Look, are you able to repair this MacBook or something?"
Hmm.
And he said, "Oof, yeah, I will," but um, gave them a quote basically, and they said, "Okay, cool." They went off to the Apple store, and the Apple store took it away, made more problems with it, and charged like so much more than he had charged. So he then did it for free, but he did it on live stream so he could talk about
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
show what he did. And yeah, that he was even like, yeah, this is where the Apple employees further scratched the board and made this not usable. And then he had a recording of a courtroom, I suppose.
Hmm.
It was the wherever he lives in America.
Hmm.
It was a battle over whether the parts that can be used to repair a Mac should be available to people outside of Apple, basically.
Yeah.
And he's fighting that battle. And I'm pretty sure he won the case. But no, the Apple employees who were there were like, "No, we don't want anyone to be able to use our tools."
Well, that's like a bunch of Apple is notorious for this. They'll add like screws and things to their devices that no known screwdriver will fit.
Yeah.
So that people can't open them up. I remember back in college, one of my friends had an iPod Touch. So again, it's the iPhone without the phone antenna installed.
Yeah.
And it broke and it wasn't working right. So we brought it back to the store, and I guess he had the insurance or it was under warranty or something. And he explained it to him. The Apple tech was like, "Oh yeah, we have that part." And he goes back into the back room, but he left the door open so we could see him back there. He literally like plugged it into a machine, like cloned the iPod onto a new one, threw my friend's iPhone into a bin, and then brought him out a brand new one. It's like, "Oh yeah, I fixed it."
Damn.
It's like they they just gave him a new one.
That's so wasteful. Oh my god.
Well, welcome to I guess that's kind of the modern phone industry.
Yeah.
They give you these tiny little pocket computers, they manufacture them en masse, and then they literally pay you to take them.
Jeez.
Anyway.
Yeah, you get the. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I just saw the time. Go on.
Yeah, we kind of got onto a topic that we could waffle on and talk about for quite a while, so I thought I should probably get us to wrap up. Yeah, final thoughts before I wrap up the segment?
Don't trust big companies. Don't necessarily trust anyone else anyway, but indie games is where it's at.
Trust but verify. All right. Well, that will be it for segment 1. Thank you for listening to us, and we will be back soon with segment 2. All right, and welcome back to segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast. We're on to media now, and we actually have quite a bit to talk about in this, mainly because we did movie night not only once but twice this week. And even if that doesn't carry us the whole way through, I've been reading and watching some stuff after work that could potentially fill some time. What should we start with?
I was pretty hungry for movies this week, so like the day after we watched the first film, which was Alicia's choice this week, I was like, I want to watch another film. And I gave a couple of options. But yeah, should we start with the first ones first then?
Yeah. So
okay,
yeah. First one this week, we were watching a Disney movie, Princess and the Frog, which I think we figured out it was the last animated Disney movie, like actually animated. The ones after that were computer animated, so like Pixar, type stuff.
I see.
quite good. I'd never seen it before,
No, me
and it
neither.
was the only one of that variety, like that kind of Disney movie I hadn't seen, because I really liked the Disney, like the animated classic Disney movies. Huge part of my
Yeah,
childhood.
I went into it thinking I don't know why because I've I don't think that I've seen a Disney movie that I haven't enjoyed, but for some reason I came into this with low expectations,
Mm.
um, and I was really pleasantly surprised. Loved the music. Well, you can't not love the music in a Disney
Oh
film.
God, yeah, it's true.
Um, but especially that first one with the Voodoo Man shop.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
So
got
good.
friends on the other side.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
my favorite song in the whole movie.
I imagine if someone doesn't like jazz, they probably wouldn't like the movie.
That's a good point. Yeah, if jazz
um,
isn't your thing, you probably would not be a fan of the songs in this movie.
no.
But it's like, and it's jazz, but it's jazz with a Disney spin too. So even if you don't, and you do like Disney movies, you could still like it.
Do you
Uh,
like jazz?
What's going on
uh,
here? What's going on here with all this jazz?
the characters, for the most part, I liked all of them. There were a couple I didn't like actually,
Hmm.
um, and I think something I said at the end. It felt like a cut down version of the film. They seem to have left out small bits of plot, which I just kind of assumed that the audience knows what happened,
Hmm.
or they just kind of fill it in with some small amount of dialogue, which just only pushes the plot. It doesn't explain people's motives or anything. They just did it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
felt that I kind of felt the same thing. There were scenes in the movie. So that's the only complaint I had. I didn't go into this with low expectations because I had seen some of the songs, particularly the "I've Got Friends on the Other Side" song on
oh, you've seen
YouTube
that
before.
previously.
I'd seen it on YouTube before, so I already knew that I liked that song. But I was happy with all the other songs in the movie too. But what was I gonna say? I felt the same thing. I had decent expectations going in. Like I thought like it's a Disney musical, it's animated, I'm gonna like this. And I did. That was correct. But you're right. There were several points in the movie where I'm just like, well, what did we just skipped ahead? Like this kind of came out of nowhere. And I know one of the scenes you're thinking of because you mentioned it after the movie
Mm.
was the whole transition when he gets turned into a frog. You don't see him get turned into a frog, and he just suddenly shows up at the girl's doorstep, and then it's later established, oh, he was put in a jar, and then some incompetent guy let him out of the jar. But
Yeah, it goes from him being a fully fledged prince, and then the bit that they skip is A, him turning into a frog, B, him being captured, C, him then being released for no bloody reason, and then D, him getting to the palace, E, him finding the princess's window who he's never met before, and then just not having a plan. Like,
yeah,
what?
I do agree. Like more than I'm trying to think of other Disney movies that I've seen that have had kind of plot holes like that, and maybe I've just seen them so often that I haven't thought of it. And
Mm.
it's not that there are plot holes. It's like you said right off the bat. They don't show you things in the plot. They just like later tell you, oh, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not the best story to. Again, these are blemishes in an otherwise excellent movie.
Oh yes. Loved the crocodile. He was one of my favourites. Didn't like the firefly so much. The whole teeth thing
Oh yeah.
kind of grossed me out. I'm a bit of a hygienist where it comes to dental health.
Yeah.
And so this thing that had like 3 teeth and it kind of spluttered its words out. It was a bit.
Well,
I don't know.
the spluttering his words out, that's just a Cajun accent. But you're right, the missing teeth thing, that's yeah. You get bad people with bad teeth. Um Oh, I wish I could do a Cajun accent. I'm picturing what he's saying in my head. I'm like, do I want to attempt it? No,
we can't afford the lawsuit, guys.
I don't think I can do a Cajun accent. Well, I don't think it's patented.
For all those we've offended, I mean.
Oh yeah. But Cajun accent is just like a Southern French accent. I don't care about offending the French.
Okay. Yeah, other things, I think it did a good job of, and this is saying quite a bit because there are so many times when this has not been done well. They did a good job of making a strong, independent female lead.
Yes. Okay. That's something. I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking that during the movie. Like, there are so many examples now of how to write strong women in a very lazy way, which is basically like, look, they have 1 billion muscles and they drink and smoke and swear. That is lazy writing for a strong character. Doesn't matter if they're male or female. That's like lazy writer's shorthand for this person is strong and edgy. This movie did a great job actually creating like a strong female character.
Yeah, the whole her dreaming about owning her own establishment and her working in that establishment, not just flaunting around it, getting the money. And especially it coming from, we know it's the ideals of her father, and she grew up cooking this delicious food, and so I think it has a really strong story. And by the end, you're like, oh my god, that sounds like I would love to go there, kind of thing.
Yeah, like, and the other thing, because even there's that whole scene where she's working her ass off. She's not going out with her friends. Like, she's working like 2 jobs, barely sleeping, saving every penny she can get. And even her mother is like, come on. It's like, I want some grandkids. Like, don't, like, why are you busting your ass like this? Enjoy your youth, find love, go out there. And she's still like doggedly determined. Like, no, I'm gonna fulfill my dream, and I'm gonna work hard to get there.
And you do see that in and about life, and I think it's really nice because I've seen people who have in real life who are trying to make something of themselves, so they don't go out every night. They work 2 jobs if they have to get what they in the long run need. And I think it's really admirable and kind of inspiring.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's a kid, like, the way to, like, write good, like, strong characters like that, it should be someone you can aspire to be. Someone who, God, I was almost, I'm losing track of my own thoughts here. It's somebody that you can look to and go, like, man, if I do that too, if I aspire to be like that, if I work hard and do these sorts of things, I could achieve something like them. Like, it's an inspiration. And Disney movies are they're children's movies for the most part, but they're kind of like all ages children's movies. Like, you can watch them at any time and still be like, damn, that was a good movie at any age. But especially for the kids watching, like, that's a good thing. That, like, you've shown them a character that is determined, they work hard, and through perseverance, no matter how much, because bad things happen to her. She fails several times over. Like, there are setbacks all across the way, but she keeps going, and she eventually makes it.
But yeah, it's kind of it's I can't remember what her name is, but I wish there was more of that princess being advertised, because there's so many, like, Snow Whites and all that. Everyone knows about them. No, I think we need more variety of this kind. I think it was really good. Well,
that's the thing. They kind of deviated from the classic Disney princess setup, because, like, if you think of some of the other ones, like Belle or Jasmine, or, like, some of the other Disney movies. I'm going to use Aladdin as an example, actually. It's kind of almost a reversal of that. Like, Jasmine she's kind of rich, a little bit spoiled, but completely understandably so, because she's shut in and not allowed to go out and see the world. whereas Aladdin's kind of this poor street urchin who's doing everything he can to get by and survive. Whereas in this movie, the princess, quote unquote, is she's like the hardworking, poor, doing everything she can to achieve her dream, and the prince is kind of a layabout who's through a lavish lifestyle, he's lost his riches. And now he's trying to find another easy road to get back into his lavish lifestyle.
Yeah. And I don't think I wasn't a massive fan of his character. I don't think he really progresses all that much, because at the end of the day, he still, gets the inheritance from his parents and just...
But did he, though?
I don't know.
I don't think he did.
That's how they bought the place for...
No, that's not how they bought the place.
Was it not?
Yeah. So at the end of the movie, you see they use the crocodile to intimidate the bankers into selling it to her.
Oh, okay, yeah. I suppose it was her money then, yeah.
Yeah, they used her money to buy the place, and then they become successful. So he's in there, playing and working, and they essentially, she achieves her dreams and learns to have a little bit more fun, and she finds love, and he learns that he doesn't need that wealth and that lavish lifestyle, and decides that now he's working hard with her, and they're achieving that dream together. So I think he does actually grow significantly, because he starts as kind of a bit of a prick.
I mean, I guess I would have just liked to have seen him do a bit more manual labor, as it were.
I guess, yeah.
When she's teaching him to mince things, that was good. I think maybe a little bit more of that kind of thing, more her teaching him tricks of the trade kind of thing would be...
Yeah, I think that's
nice.
something across the board, not just what you were talking about earlier with them not showing key plot points, or what seem like key plot points, instead of just telling us about them. In the same way, they could have done a bit more on-screen character development. But I mean, they do that pretty thoroughly for the main... I feel bad. I can't remember any of the names of any of the characters.
No, I can't really.
And I'm thinking back, I remember the names of old Disney movies characters because I've seen the movies 18 times. But now I've only seen this one once.
And also the spoilt rich brat. I was so sure that she was going to turn out to be an ass and she'd throw her friend under the bus. I thought it was really quite wholesome that she, even to the end, was doing everything she could to help her friend, despite living in such different circumstances.
That was something that I thought was really good too, because I thought the exact same thing. I thought the moment she finds out that this guy is just, it's not who she thinks he is, and that she finds out that the prince, isn't gonna pick her, he's gonna, pick the other girl,
the main character.
Yeah, I thought that okay, there's going to be some kind of a conflict here. She's going to be a bit of a brat about it, but no.
Yeah.
She continuously surprised, and when in the beginning when she gets knocked into the table and knocks away all those pastries and stuff, I thought I wasn't giving the girl enough credit. I thought that the rich girl was going to get mad at her, but no, she was she immediately went to her side and started to help. She was a brat and kind of over the top loudmouth for most of the movie, but then every time her friend actually needed her, she ended up being a really kind and genuine person.
Yeah. So no, I think it teaches quite a few nice stories. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
I do not know.
I don't know. It's some fool our words. Aspirational stuff.
Yeah. Inspirational, aspirational.
Yeah. Things to aspire towards.
Yeah. It's just all around a very good movie. And it basically it goes with some new ideas and new tropes and new character arcs while staying true to the feel of a classic Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just all around good movie. Highly recommend it. I'm kind of sad that I never saw it before this, but now I'm glad that I have. Yeah, complete opposite of that movie was the second movie we watched this week, which was Die Hard.
Yeah, I gave Kaiser an option. I was like, okay, I've got all these Disney songs in my head. Should we watch either another Disney movie, which Kaiser has not seen and I have, or Die Hard? Because it's coming up to Christmas and it's a classic Christmas film, Alicia.
Oh my god. By the way, I did talk to my parents about this, and they do not agree.
They don't think it's a Christmas film.
Nope.
It is a Christmas... Like, now I've got a machine gun, ho ho ho. You wouldn't say that mid-February, would you?
Well, the movie is set at Christmas.
Yeah, and there's Santas everywhere, there's Christmas trees.
But that doesn't make it a Christmas... Okay, whatever.
It's an inspirational story about saving Christmas, Kaiser.
Okay. Yeah, that's another classic movie that I had never seen.
Yeah.
Came out the year I was born, 1988.
Mm-hmm. Man, you're old, brother.
Old. That's true, yeah. I'm turning 32 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yep, back when Bruce Willis had hair.
That's true. I honestly had a hard time recognizing him at first because of the hair.
Yeah. I think I haven't seen much of modern day Bruce Willis, so it wasn't that tough for me to recognize. But yeah, what a film! So much action, lots of evil Germanic terrorists.
It was, and inexplicably one Englishman leading them. Although he's ostensibly supposed to be German.
Yeah, I think he did a better... I mean, I know he did like a American accent at one point to try and fool the main character.
That American accent
didn't sound
was
natural. The German sounded a lot more natural.
The German did sound natural. That's the thing. When he did that American accent, I was like, "Oh God, it's so bad." Like, I thought Bruce Willis was just gonna shoot him in the face right there. I was like, that sounds so fake.
It does. It really did. And I was like, hang on, wait, so is he actually an English actor?
Yeah, he's English.
God.
He's the guy that...
He makes such a good, evil character.
Yeah, I mean, he played Snape in the Harry Potter movies. He played...
But Snape was good, but he was still the most evil character.
He was the most evil good guy. Well, and then there's also...
Spoilers.
He also played the... He played the Judge Topin in the Sweeney Todd movie.
I've not seen Sweeney Todd.
Oh, it's such a good... Okay, that's a movie. That's going on movie night. That might be my choice next. I fucking love...
I'm sure Alicia would be disappointed to hear I haven't seen Sweeney Todd.
It's the first movie I saw that made me think that I might actually like some musicals. Like, aside from Disney musicals. Like, actual live musicals. Because I saw... I don't know. I've seen musicals when I was younger. People I knew in grade school were like really liked them. The ones that they liked, they showed me, I thought were ass. And the plot lines were things that I just absolutely couldn't get behind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to say this, and I know this is... If some of the people I'm thinking of listen to this, I know this is going to piss them off. One of these musicals was Rent, which I absolutely hated, but a bunch of them really liked.
Right.
My plot synopsis is Rent is a movie, or I guess musical, about a bunch of layabout artists who refuse to pay their rent and then sing about it for an hour, and then someone catches AIDS. That's the whole musical.
Are they the creative spirit, free spirit?
I guess. They have a theater, and some dude in a suit comes by and tells them that they have to pay their rent or get evicted, which is a perfectly
You want to be that character.
It's just, I can sympathize with that character. It's like, you own the building, you know, you got these people living there, they're not paying for it, you got bills to pay, like...
Get out of here, you bums.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just even as a teenager, I was utterly unsympathetic to these people. I was like, pay your fucking bills.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Anyway, without getting too far into that, Die Hard.
Yes, I have.
Just
So, a lot of classic phrases that you weren't previously aware came from it.
yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yep. And also, I don't know, did they... with the explosions and stuff, I wonder if they had the budget to actually... I don't know, what... Was there any CGI or anything?
I don't think so. It looked like they actually blew a bunch of... Like, it looked like they detonated a helicopter in one of those scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the 80s. I don't think there was that much CGI, and if there was, it would have been obvious.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you must have seen, like, old James Bond CGI clips, surely.
Probably, yeah.
They're so hilariously bad. So yeah, it must have been a pretty high budget film for the time.
Yeah. I mean, it was the late 80s. I think that was like the height of the over-the-top action movie.
Yeah.
So I think
Invincible heroes, Rambo and all that.
Yeah, I think they probably had a budget just because that you were basically guaranteed to make a return on investment doing that. And I mean, they went on to make 5 other... There was Die Hard, Die Hard 2, something Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Die Hard Another Day.
Live Free or Die Hard was one of them.
Okay. Yeah, and I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, neither have I.
But I've seen this one because it comes about every year. Because it's a excellent Christmas film. But there's not much message behind it. It's just a fun film. In the same way that you don't watch Terminator expecting to have your life changed in any way.
I mean, it's just basically that movie. It has so much payoff at all the right moments, like the scummy reporter who's trying to use their kids to get views and stuff and puts them in danger. The wife punches him in the face. Like
yeah,
the
in real life, so many people would have problems with that, but because it's the film, they're just like, "Yep, that guy deserved it. Let's move on."
Yeah, well, I think in real life that guy deserved it too.
Oh yeah, he still would have deserved it, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
There would have been like legal
that's true. There might have been
that.
legal. Well, I mean, there probably would have been legal battles over the fact that the guy detonated most of that building, and he wasn't even a cop from that state.
Yeah, and the CIA wouldn't be quite so.
Well, FBI.
I hope they wouldn't be quite FBI. Sorry, yeah.
At the time. At the time, who knows? I mean, the guy, they do make a legitimate reference, like the FBI agent with the sniper rifle and the helicopter. I mean, he was like, "Oh, it's just like Saigon."
Yeah, just like Saigon. I was like, "Ooh, I understand that reference."
Yeah, it's like, I mean, at the time there could have been veteran FBI agents who were like Vietnam vets, and they might have. You never know. There could have been somebody who played a little fast and loose, and I don't know.
But I don't know. I feel like you get in so much trouble going in, like, guns blazing into a hostage situation. Surely back then that wouldn't have been alright still.
You never... I mean, again, it was the 80s. Who knows? It's entirely possible, like, that they would have made... Because the guy's like, yeah, we're looking at probably about losing 25% of the hostages.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe that's how they did the calculus back then.
Also, I'm so dubious of the villain's plans, because their plan after doing all this stuff was to just drive out in a van. I mean, I know they said, "Oh, they'll think we're all dead because we blew up the roof." If you blow up the roof, no one's gonna stand in their own explosion.
Yeah, again, I think a lot of this is you don't think too deeply about it. But then again, they didn't really say too much about the intelligence of the people who they were, like, who were outside. Because, like, it takes several gunshots and explosions and a dead body being thrown out a window before the LA cops even do anything. I don't even know if this was set in LA. It may have been San Diego. But...
I think it was California, wasn't it?
Well, it was California, but LA, San Diego, and San Francisco are all three big cities in California.
Oh, okay. Right.
So it could have been one of, I don't know which one it was.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they're incompetent. The FBI seems like just brass, over the top, like, gung ho, blow it all up. Let's go in there, cut the power to the whole block. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's one of those things you don't really think to.
Think about it. No.
Yeah.
Thinking back on it, it might have been like a pretty long film, but you can't really talk much about it. It's like trying to commentate on Transformers, for example. You can talk about the psychology of the people, of the actors, and we can always talk about Shia LaBeouf. But the actual film, there's very little things we can talk about without just being like, so this happened, and then this happened.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why
action.
It's why it's just like a feel-good action movie. Like when I was talking about the payoff coming out, like the reporter getting punched in the face. Also, like when the California cop, the one that was constantly talking to Bruce Willis throughout the whole movie, like when he said the thing about, I've never been able to draw my gun since then. I'm like, okay, he is going to draw his gun and he's going to shoot a bad guy. Like, I knew it immediately once he said that line, and sure enough, at the very end, like, one of the guys you think is dead is still alive, and then he shoots him.
And they left him with his machine gun.
Well, yeah, that's true.
They just let him out the building with a machine gun. Like, what?
This hostage has an MP5. Oh my god. Yeah.
God, it was fun but dumb.
Yeah.
Just what's?
Hmm?
I was gonna say, what do you have plans for the next one then?
Well, I think I didn't have anything concrete. I've had a few in mind, but knowing that you haven't seen the Sweeney Todd movie, I think we may have to watch that one, because it's got a pretty good cast in it too. Like, it's got Snape in there as the evil judge. It's got what the fuck's his name?
Oh, the evil crazy lady from Harry Potter. Harry Potter person.
Again, yeah, she is excellent in that movie.
Yeah. That's the name.
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Yeah, but that's her name in Harry Potter.
It is her name in Harry Potter. Mrs. Lovett is what she's called in that. I was playing one of the songs in my head to try and remember her name. And the guy that plays Sweeney Todd, why can't I remember his name?
It's not Johnny Depp, is it?
It is Johnny Depp. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I know, because
I'm not a fan of Johnny Depp, but maybe he is a good actor. So.
He's been in a lot of movies that I've liked him in. That one, he played really good in the first few Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Like, Jack Sparrow was probably the highlight of those movies.
Yeah.
He was in Public Enemies.
Certainly better than that Paris ass Ponce, whatever the fuck he was called, William Turner.
Oh yeah, William Turner. That's right. Yeah, we can go back into Orlando Bloom and how much of a pussy he plays in that movie. Although I think we agreed, as Legolas, he did a very good job. That was the one.
Legolas was brilliant.
Legolas was a good character. Oh man. Okay. But yeah, I think that's what's going to be the next movie choice for me.
Okay, I mean that's a pretty old film, isn't it? I don't know when it was.
Yeah, I watched it when in college, our campus did a free movie night on campus, and they used one of the larger lecture halls just to play a movie. And so the first time I saw it was there on college, and I think it came out in 2009.
Yeah.
So it's about as old as Princess and the Frog. It's 11 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, we used to get some quite weird films that we were shown in school. Did you have any particularly weird ones? Like, other than the Sweeney Todd, because that's pretty weird.
Well, again, but that was college, and it wasn't like it was just like a campus event. Like, it was, they just put on whatever, they'd get the rights to a movie that had just come out, and they'd do a showing on campus. Weird movies that we watched, like, for school, like, in class.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Not weird, but we got low budget ones, because in our English classes we'd watch movies based on the books that we had read sometimes.
Right.
The Lord of the Flies one was pretty hilarious because
Oh, that's nice.
they didn't have a very high budget, so watching the whiny fat kid get hit with a styrofoam rock was hilarious.
um, so we in all different subjects we had. It felt like the teachers were trying to bend the curriculum in such a way that they could get a day off, basically. In history, we had Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, that's legit.
Excellent film, and that's probably one of the more normal ones. It's a fair reason because I mean it's very eye-opening as to of conditions.
In my 7th grade history class, we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
See, that's the kind of thing we get in RP class or religion and philosophy.
We don't. I don't think we have that.
It was a bit of a DOS class, but no, in English literature, we got to watch The Matrix.
Interesting.
Because it was kind of the concept of brain in a jar.
Okay.
I think that was the excuse they used.
Fine.
And RP was where the greatest shit came out. Okay, South Park, because several South Park episodes have messages behind them.
Okay.
And then Zombieland.
That's
I don't know what the message was from. It was from Zombieland, but goddamn.
I mean, it's a good movie.
It is. I mean, at the time I was pretty fucking terrified because I think I'd seen Shaun of the Dead before that, but other than that I'd not seen any horror film, and I was stuck. This was like the middle of summer. Stuck in a room, all the curtains were drawn, there was like 20 guys, because it was an all-boys school.
Yeah.
So it was just a stifling room, and we were watching this, like, comedy horror, and so it was hilarious, but there were times where I was like, ooh, oh no.
Oh my god.
I don't want to see that.
You just reminded me of a moment, like, speaking of watching movies in class in grade school, and, them pulling the shades. It was a science class, and it was some really, really low budget, like, public school approved movie about the solar system. It was.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say sex ed for a second there.
No.
Like,
but they didn't really do sex ed in my school. Was like we had a health class either sophomore year or junior year. They didn't show any videos or anything like that. It was just like, hey, this is a penis. This is how it works.
For us, it was here's all the STDs you can get.
Yep.
And they didn't tell us anything else.
They went over that too. That was pretty much it. Anyway, but no, it wasn't that. It was science, and it was specifically about the solar system. Don't remember the movie at all, but they had like one of the kids go and like pull the shades. The teacher had one of the kids go and pull the shades for the room, and to do that, you had to climb up on top of the radiator and then pull the shades down. So shades get pulled. It's pitch black in the room, and we just hear a loud, ba-bam! And the person had like sort of lost their balance jumping off of the radiator and landed really awkwardly, and it made a loud bang. And then it's pitch black in the room, and you just hear two kids. One of them goes, "That was a 7.8 on the Richter scale." And then one of the other kids across the room just goes, "That broke the fucking Richter scale." And the teacher flips the lights back on. She's like, "Who the hell said that?" She's like looking around, and everyone is laughing except the teacher, who is pissed. I don't.
Kind of got to be pissed.
I don't remember. I was like, "How can you not?" It was funny.
Yeah, but
even
the person who keep order.
Even the person that fell was laughing. I guess. It was 6th grade. How old were people in that?
I feel like it took very little time, a very small amount of time. If like a substitute teacher was teaching, if they were just complete milksops, it would just be chaos. Like,
yeah.
We had a history stand-in, and normally our history teacher, he was goddamn brutal, alright? He was scary, and I mean really scary.
Yeah.
I didn't hand my homework in once on time. I went to apologise to him and say I'd get it in another day. So
Yeah.
I literally went to him, and there was another class waiting outside of his room. He picked me up by the shirt collar,
What the
like
fuck?
off the ground, and screamed in my face.
Holy shit!
And I didn't wet myself, but goddamn, that was scary. Another time, I don't know, I hadn't done something properly or something, so he turned to me and he was like, alright, legally I'm not allowed to hit you, but I'm gonna hold my fist here, and I expect you to headbutt it. I mean, that was a bit more funny, but I was so terrified of him, I legit did it.
Oh my god, that's awesome. I don't think we.
He was a really good teacher, though.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best teachers are like that. I can't think.
I feel like that was kind of like basic training. If I'd gone into boot camp after that, I would have been fine.
He was prepping you. I don't think we ever had any. I never had any teachers like that. I had some teachers that like everyone took seriously. Like they had gravitas in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like they were just teachers you wouldn't fuck with because they had that kind of austere kind of air about them. I had an English teacher near the end of my high school career that was like that. And like again, at a very disciplined classroom, and no one would ever fuck with them. But they never had to do anything about it. They just kind of commanded an air of respect.
Yeah.
All right, we have gone so far away from media, and we've been talking for nearly 40 minutes. So, I think any final thoughts about the movies or anything we've talked about in this segment, and then I think I'll wrap it up.
I don't know. Regarding, I think we've spoken about all there is to say about movies right for the time being. I will say, I think, looking back on my school years, the teachers that I learnt the most from were probably the angry teachers. So, because I had to pay attention in their lessons, otherwise I'd be in deep trouble. So I think a little bit of fear in school is a good thing. And I think a lot of these days, I think teachers have to be a lot more gentle and soft-spoken with the pupils. I don't know. I think there's a lack of respect probably coming in these days because of that.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Like the teachers that my experience was the same thing. The teachers who were kind of more casual in their teaching style, kind of let things go, and it was a little more free form in their classroom. I barely remember anything from those classes, and I basically had to teach myself. The classes where it was like that, where the teacher like kind of commanded discipline in the classroom, those were the classes that I actually learned things from, and definitely were a lot more useful to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And probably more beneficial to me, even if I didn't like the fact that they were, basically commanding large portions of my time. Anyway, we'll end it off there. This has been segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you for listening, and you'll hear us again very soon for segment 3. All right, welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are now on segment 3, a wild card segment, and Blue, you have something to lead us off with on this one, I believe.
Yep, it's the eclectic zone, and the eclecticism today is Christmas, and it's still 2 months away from Christmas Day, almost to the day. But is it alright to A, listen to Christmas music, B, eat Christmas food, and C, put up decorations for Christmas this early?
So, I can answer this unequivocally from a U.S. perspective. The answer is no. And the reason the answer is no, at least in the U.S., is it is considered kind of a faux pas here to do any of that stuff prior to Thanksgiving being completed.
Okay, yeah, we don't really have that. I was going to say that. Well, we just don't have that event.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving happens on the fourth Thursday of November. And so it's the end of November usually. This month or this year, I think it's the 27th. So until that date, it's considered a little bit weird to be doing that ahead of time.
It is over here as well, but I used to work in a large shop, and we would sell Christmas products before we sold Halloween products, which I thought was crazy.
That is kind of odd.
But people will buy it, so we will put it out. Is essentially the ethos.
Yeah, I mean, I could see buying, stuff ahead of time so that you're ready for it. Like, buy Christmas lights before.
So it was a pretty big supermarket. You've been around it.
I have, yeah.
There would be every day, like 2 whole pallets of just mince pies before December per day.
Maybe they like pies.
Like, we love mince pies. I've got mince pies next to me right now. That's why I kind of was thinking about this originally. And I mean, go on.
And I just for clarity's sake for the audience, because I know a good chunk of them are from the U.S., we don't really have pies like that here. So
really, mince pies?
It's like a meat pie. We have them, but I think they're called something different.
Not meat pie.
Is it? What kind is it? See, I don't even know what it is.
A mince pie is like a fruity, sugary, little tiny pie. The things that I just sent you, those are mince pies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got fruit in them. I think they do have mince in them, but it's like, I should really read. Hang on, I've got the box right next to me. Mince meat filling is 46%, but then there's sugar apple puree, bunch of things, raisins, glucose syrup, apricot filling. So a bunch of fruit, but also mincemeat.
God. Okay. Minus the sugar, that actually sounds really good. Like the fruit, just the fruit and chopped up meat. That does, but also it does sound like a very festive food. Not really something.
It's not meaty at all though. Like you don't, when you eat one, you don't think, there's meat in here. Nah, not at all. Okay. But yeah, like they're very, very popular, and it's kind of like how everyone only eats goose on like 1 or 2 times a year. If it tastes good, eat it all year round if it's available. Is my opinion.
Well, that's yeah. I guess there are certain foods and beverages that are kind of seasonally locked. But I don't think. I don't know. I'm one of those people who I'll eat like breakfast at like 9 o'clock at night, and I'll have like steak for breakfast in a day. Like,
yeah, but we're heathens.
That's what I'm saying. I'm probably not the right person to like comment necessarily on this stuff like equivocally, but I can say that there are people who like just they will be massively offended by the fact that there happens to be, Christmas lights out, or somebody's having like a, I don't know, what's a holiday dish here?
What's the Thanksgiving?
Well, turkey mostly.
It's turkey.
Turkey and ham. Turkey and ham. And then there's a type of cranberry.
Okay.
Like some kind of cranberry sweet dish, like a pie or a tart.
Do you have Christmas puddings over there then? Really? Oh my god. To be fair, Christmas
maybe.
Puddings
Like, is it like pudding? Like just like a chocolate pudding or something?
It's okay. Like, imagine. In fact, they quite often do it this way. Imagine like a bowl, right?
Yeah.
And you flip the bowl upside down, and that's kind of the shape of it. It's like an upside down bowl shape.
We do. We do have them.
It's like
we don't really
black, and you set them on fire.
Okay, we do have them. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know that we call them necessarily Christmas puddings or puddings in general.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of
And
what
there's... Go on.
this may also be a regional thing because what different foods are called and what foods are actually had at different holidays and stuff does vary quite widely across the U.S.
There's a tradition as well that you put a coin inside of the Christmas pudding,
Oh, nice.
and whoever gets that gets good luck or something. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, unless they
choke.
choke on it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's kind of like the Kinder egg argument, though. I mean, America's not got Kinder eggs because they're afraid that the kids are just going to eat the egg so fast that they choke on the toy inside. We're fine with them.
Yeah, okay. So this
America,
yeah,
you got to slow down.
I will say that yeah, my country definitely has some some flaws with the intelligence of their child products. One of the a perfect example is there was a car seat that came out in the mid to early 2000s,
Yeah.
and it was recalled for severing children's fingers, right?
Jesus.
Because of the buckle, but it was only recalled in the U.S. because it only happened in the U.S. So all I can think is there's just some fucking dumbass parent who crushed their kid's hand in a seatbelt buckle. Sorry, that got very grim. We're talking about Christmas here,
Yeah.
but like it. Okay, I admit, like the whole Kinder Egg thing, exact same thing. Again, for those that don't know, because they aren't. I didn't even know what the hell they were, because I'd never heard of them at all before.
Yeah.
But Kinder Eggs are these little chocolate eggs that come with. They have a toy inside of them of some kind.
Yeah.
It's like an Easter egg.
The toy comes within like a little plastic thing as well. Like it's a large enough plastic thing that I would very much struggle to swallow.
Yeah.
As a fully grown man, I would very much struggle to swallow one of these plastic shells. But I
Yeah.
suppose someone could.
Yeah, you never know. Kids will eat anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, again, only banned in the U.S. because I think it has something to do with the way our food and drug laws are written, less so that they're afraid people are going to choke on them.
Right.
I
like
think
putting plastic in food is just strictly forbidden.
Exactly, and it doesn't give the nuance that has for that particular device. It's just like anything inedible that's put inside the food is banned here.
Yeah. Man, I wonder what other Christmas differences there are then between the two. I hadn't really gone into research on this because I assumed that mince pies and Christmas puddings were a thing over there.
Yeah, mince pies. I can't think of anything like that. That's both like that's got sweet and savory ingredients in it. I can't think of anything.
You must do
here.
jam tarts.
The fuck is a jam tart?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, imagine like the mince pie which I sent a picture of to you.
Yeah.
Now imagine you've taken the top off and it's just strawberry jam in there.
Maybe. I can think of something that looks like that.
Right. They're small, they're dinky little things. They're not like a full-size tart.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. We do have them over here, but again, this is where it comes into the regional differences. They aren't a staple at the Christmas dinners that I've been to.
Okay.
So that sounds like something that may be more common in the Midwest or in the South in the U.S. for like a Christmas meal. But at least where I'm from, they don't, like on the East Coast, Northeast, they don't, at least for my family, they weren't a part of it. So like our Christmas dinners, we tended to have like ham, turkey, vegetables like corn, mashed potatoes, beans. What else am I trying to think of for desserts?
I mean, that is
usually some kind of a pie, but it's like a big pie and only a fruit pie.
Yeah. Turkey's very popular at Christmas over here.
Yeah, like a cranberry sauce too could go with stuff. Although that's usually more Thanksgiving with turkey, cranberry sauce. Some kind of like a pasta, like a mac and cheese or something like that.
I think more often we have roast potatoes instead of mashed.
Yeah. Scallop potatoes.
Yeah, definitely the cranberry sauce. Maybe either lamb or turkey. It's kind of weird because we don't really eat those meats much other times of the year.
Yeah.
Bread sauce. Bread sauce can be so good.
Is that like gravy?
No, okay, so I'm not surprised. I think there's probably some people in England that won't have had this. It's like, it's not too dissimilar to mustard, but
Oh.
because it's very, it can be very strong. My grandmother, one of my grandmothers, makes her own bread sauce, and it's like it kind of looks like porridge. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but it's very strong, like tang to it.
I mean, that sounds really tasty.
Yeah, and you'd have it with like jacket potatoes or specifically meats. Oh, yeah. It's something you only get at Christmas, really, in my family.
I'm trying to think of like what else is like a Christmas dish here. Yeah, a lot of these things are not really.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's things that you have in America that we don't have over here.
Do you guys have quiche?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
quiche is something that shows up at Christmas and sometimes Thanksgiving and Easter as well. It's again kind of a celebratory thing.
Yeah. Quiche is kind of a very farmery food. I think. Very nice though, it can be.
Yeah. Trying to.
Because
I'm rewinding back to like last Christmas in my head, and I'm trying to picture everything that was on the table.
Yeah, over at Alicia's mother makes very nice quiche, very cheesy. I was like, oh
yeah. Quiche is a good. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, deviled eggs.
Okay, I've heard of deviled eggs, and I think we do have them over here, but I've never had deviled eggs, whatever they are.
Deviled eggs are hard-boiled eggs, right?
Right.
Peel off the shells, and then you slice them in half and remove the yolk as a coherent. Like you remove all the yolks, so it's just like a white, just the egg white in a solid form with a little hole where the yolk was. Then you mash up all the yolks and add like mustard, spices, and some other ingredients. Mix it all together, and if you're doing it right, you put it through like one of those squeeze things you use to put like icing on pastries or cakes.
Oh yeah, one of those tubes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do that, and you just squirt it back into the hole where the yolk was taken out of. So it's hard-boiled egg white with that yolk and mustard and other spices mixture.
Yeah, like a tangy, spicy egg.
Yeah, they're delicious. They are absolutely amazing.
Does sound good. I'll have to try that at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, a very popular thing for Christmas, stuffing.
Yes, stuffing. Yeah. Although more popular and common Thanksgiving here than Christmas. You don't necessarily, even like turkey isn't like a necessity for Christmas. A lot of the time, the meat is like ham and stuff like that.
Well, we quite often just have a big chicken because everyone likes chicken.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, turkey. I'm not surprised that turkey's more common over here. Like even year round, turkey's native to North America.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably why it's more popular over there. We don't have. I don't know.
Yeah, we get them just wandering around. Like I remember, like there was one that used to wander around my office like a few years back. I was at a different company.
Yeah, because I remember.
Sorry, what?
Jesse was speaking recently about there's like a small gang of turkeys around his area.
Oh yeah, he's in a much more rural area than I am, and yeah, I imagine that. Even the town where I lived in, which was fairly suburban, but there were still like forested areas nearby, would get deer running by the school, turkeys wandering around.
It's pretty lucky if you see a deer over here. Very cool. Sorry.
It's fine. Our cross-country course, when I was in high school, I remember sometimes when we'd be running, there'd be deer that would like run with us for a while. Or run parallel to us.
So they're not like afraid of you?
Not in that area, necessarily, because they don't really... They live on... there's a reservoir near where I grew up that supplies several towns with water and stuff. And all of the land around there is protected, including like there's tons of forested areas. So the deer that live in those forested areas, like there's no hunting. so they have no real reason to be too afraid of people. Um, Aside from like the odd kid who's gonna spook it, or they might get hit by a car or something, but people themselves, they're not like, they don't want to come near you. They're still kind of skittish, but they don't like immediately bolt away from you or try to hide.
Yeah. See, in England's obviously known for its no gun policy, but we have quite a these days a taboo history of hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we saw it in like the Peaky Blinders and stuff, didn't we? And we've hunted so many species to extinction in England that when we do see a deer now, it's like, holy shit, a deer, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite here. We have like a very positive hunting tradition in the U.S. And in fact, most of the hunting activities that go on in the U.S. Are used to fund conservation efforts. So like we have very strictly controlled hunting seasons. Poaching is a very serious crime, like in most of the rural parts of the U.S. Like hunting out of season. And most of the money that people pay in getting hunting licenses and taxes on hunting gear and things like that, it goes into funding these, fish and game and wildlife services that are meant to conserve kind of the natural areas and stuff.
Yeah.
And the only negative one we have wasn't even because of hunting. It was because of a war that was on. We hunted buffalo to extinction and we didn't do it for like anything. It was just like they went out with machine guns and just took out buffalo. And the whole reason was we were currently at war with one or another like Native American nation, and they exterminated the buffalo to kill their food supply. Very, very negative, like very, very dark part of our history. But it's also the only part of our history I can think of where, like, hunting related, that's actually negative. But again, it wasn't even hunting. It was really a war crime.
Yeah, with buffaloes, obviously you got the fur, which is very sought after, and also the meat, which is, there's a lot of meat on a buffalo.
Oh yeah, bison meat, like bison burgers. Oh, absolutely delicious.
When you get to like fox hunting, though, for example, fox hunting was big in England because they go out with their dogs. That's why a lot of pubs are called like the Fox and Hounds, for example.
Yeah.
Fox hunting very, very taboo because everyone sees these adorable foxes, and believe me, I regularly watch a YouTube channel called Save a Fox, and the foxes, they're so goddamn cute. Oh, they're adorable, melt your heart. But I can understand a hunter trying to protect like his
chickens.
Chickens, for example, is the classic.
Yeah.
I'm not against the hunting of foxes for that reason. Like, people need to make a living. I can understand that. Yeah. What I'm against is the people who are taking wild foxes, raising them in horrible, horrible conditions, and then killing them for their fur when they're old enough.
Yeah. Well, and then there's also like the classic image of like the fox hunt where they're out there it's essentially croquet, but they still get to kill something.
Yeah. But I don't know, if it's a fast, swift death, then I don't know. I can't be too mad because
the thing is there's
lines.
There's lines and there's
sometimes.
Bad stuff that's gonna happen. So it's just can you temper it with some good? One of the things that this is reminding me of, I don't know if you remember a few years back, there was a lion hunt that was going on, and this dentist from somewhere in the U.S. paid and went out on safari, and his guides led him to the wrong area, and he ended up killing a lion that was tagged and protected. Which it happens. It's not supposed to. The guides got fined, and I think he got fined, but he got a huge hate mob, and so people.
Oh yeah.
The thing that people didn't realize is because of all the awareness it got and all the protests, people weren't going over there and participating in these fully legal, fully sanctioned by the government's like lion hunts. They weren't doing it anymore, and as a result, the lion population exploded, and they ended up having to go in with machine guns and take out like 100 lions because they were starting to kill people in neighboring villages.
Jeepers, yeah.
So it's one of those things, just like how I said in the U.S. the hunting industry funds the conservation efforts and the maintenance of our national parks and things like that. Here, like it's something that not everyone likes. People don't appreciate hunting, especially when it's like sport hunting and not hunting where they're going to use the food and everything.
Yeah.
But that thing also is used to fund the preservation and the maintenance of these natural environments and these wild animals. It's the same thing in this. I can't remember where it was in Africa. I want to say it was Kenya, but I'm not positive. These safaris, they cost like tens of thousands of dollars, and the reason they do is that money, like they pay the guides, and the guides then are supposed to bring them to areas where there is a higher than normal lion population, and they're allowed to hunt specific lions in specific areas. They do it. They get to they kill the lion. They pay it. It funds, but those safaris that funds the entire conservation effort in that country. They don't have the tax revenue to maintain it naturally. So these hunts that they do, that's what pays for them maintaining the guides, maintaining the rangers that make sure there's no poaching, that pays for them to maintain that land and not have to sell it off to farmers or whoever, which again will hurt the natural environment. So it's something that you may not like. Like it may be seen as a negative, and I don't like the idea of killing lions. I think they're beautiful. But it's also like that one hunt is now making sure that the lion population is staying stable and that they can maintain those natural parks where they can kind of roam and stay in a wild environment, and they won't have to sell off the land to cities or to farmers or people who are going to change it and civilize it, right?
Yeah, I mean, out of the goodness of people's hearts will not generally fund all the charities in the world that we need to keep things running and keeping people happy. So, yeah, sometimes we do need to do the dirty job in order to do the good thing.
There's gray area out there, and anyone who tries to what is it, the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right, yeah.
I think we started off on Christmas. That got kind of
yeah, sorry. Kind of, you should probably bring it back again.
Yeah, but you were just starting to say something.
No. I was. I'm very much in the middle of the road on it, and I think I could do with a bit more information before I ever actually made a solid stance on where I stand. I know things that I definitely think are wrong. I know things that I definitely think are right, but there is a blurred line somewhere between hunting for fun, and hunting to preserve a way of life. Yeah,
and I mean there are I have people in my family that go out hunting, but again, a lot of them live out in the Midwest. And my uncle up in New Hampshire, he used to go hunting all the time. Up in New Hampshire, I don't see anything wrong with it. There were hunting activities that were sketchy and really messed up that I can't even understand why people did them. Like there was what was it? there was a controversial practice that was done decades ago, I want to say. Maybe it still happens some places, I don't know. But essentially, it'd be like rich people would rent a helicopter. They'd go up in a helicopter, and they would buzz areas to try and chase animals into, like, away from protected areas into areas where they're allowed to hunt them.
Yeah, that's kind of funky.
And then they'd kill them from the helicopter using, whatever weapon they happen to have. Not only is that, because if you are hunting for sport, there's a level of skill to it, right? Like,
yeah, and that's kind of.
That's why I have a lot of respect for the people who go like bow hunting, because there's a skill to it. You gotta like actually creep through the forest and like stalk the animal that you're hunting and stuff like that. And there's a level of skill to actually using the bow.
You can't just be an idiot that walks around with a gun shooting at things.
Yeah, although I will say, you also need to be pretty skilled to accurately hunt an animal with a gun.
Well, true, but if you're walking around with a minigun or something, I mean.
Well, yeah. Oh my god.
They're not out just for the kill. They're out for
the sport of it,
the hunt,
and the actual the whole thing. I got a funny story, but say what you were. I think you just started to say something.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. There's a hunting channel, like there's an ESPN channel that's all hunting, and it was one of the. We had just basic cable in our apartment when I was in college, my sophomore year, and we would sometimes just put it on to whatever channel was available, just to have background noise. And one day we had it on the ESPN hunting channel, and we were just laughing at this guy because, first of all, slightly overweight dude in full camo, wearing like a ghillie suit, crouched against a tree, so completely invisible. He's got a revolver, like a high caliber revolver, on a tripod with a scope. So he's like he's basically, he doesn't have to.
A revolver with a tripod.
Revolver. It's a very high. It was a high caliber revolver, tripod scope, probably like a 44 Magnum or something like that.
Yeah.
Long barrel, and he's got like a rifle scope on top of the revolver. And what is this guy hunting? A turkey. The turkey is like 20 feet away from him. It doesn't see him because he's essentially blended in completely. This guy could have been hunting like anything in that getup, and he's hunting a fucking turkey with a revolver on a
any turkey left if it's high enough caliber.
Well, that's the thing. We were watching this in college, laughing at the guy. Like, what the fuck? Why does he need all of that kit to hunt a turkey?
Jesus.
That
reminds me of is it George's Marvelous Medicine, the Roald Dahl book?
I've never heard of it.
It's all about a father and son who they're quite poor, I think, and it's kind of a bit of a tradition to go to the local hunting grounds where the rich people hunt grouse and stuff, and bag themselves a grouse so they could eat it for Christmas, kind of thing. I think it was Christmas. It might not have been. And so, sorry to spoil the plot for anyone. It's a very old book, Roald Dahl, very famous. This little boy thinks, I know, if we take sleeping medicine, basically, crush it up, put it in with grouse feed, bury it in the ground, and then when the grouse eat it, they'll fly up into their trees like they always do at a particular time. And when all the hunters have left, because all the grouse are in the trees, the grouse will start falling asleep and fall out of the trees.
Yeah.
I think that's just the idea of it is very, very genius, and it does obviously take the fun out of the hunt, I suppose. But it is a different kind of hunt. Like
this is I think where there needs to be a distinction. Like, if you're hunting for sport, right? Obviously, I think that you should still use as much of the animal as possible after you've hunted it.
Oh yeah, but
if you're not
poor people, they ate everything.
That's what I was about to get to. I was about to say when you're hunting for like survival, like for food and stuff like that, I don't really think there's such a thing as unsporting, because you're doing it at the very basic level to eat, like
Yeah.
um
And they had like all the village people, the vicar, the I don't know, farrier, all the kinds of the people around the village all came and ate from this bounty, basically, rather than it's kind of a middle finger up to the rich people, but
yeah.
it makes for a nice story.
Well, yeah, it combines like cleverness, some wholesome community values, and saying "fuck you" to the rich, all into one book. Also, I have an idea what it is in my head. What the fuck is a grouse? Like, it's some kind of a bird, right? Like a pheasant.
I mean, you've drunk the famous grouse whiskey, right?
I've seen it. I've never had it. I think one of my friends had it in his bar.
I cannot pronounce any of those words. I just looked up grouse and. Oh, maybe it's.
Oh, okay. I see the bird.
Yeah, it's like a not colourful version of the.
It kind of looks like a combination between a turkey and a pigeon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't think we have these over here.
You.
It does. It looks like a combination between a turkey and a pigeon. That is so weird. I've heard grouse. The only way I've ever heard of a grouse is because of the whiskey, but
Yeah.
I've never seen a real one until I now am looking up the images of them right now.
But yeah, they're very chicken-like. Except I imagine they're probably a bit bigger. That's probably why they're like farmed.
Yeah, yeah.
The more you know.
All right. Well, now I have a new thing that I want to eat.
Free range, of course, and all those other good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if there's something that can be taken away from today, it's that there's no certainties in any of these things, and as we've said before, if you want to find out more about some subject, go and look it up yourself, because there will be far better sources than us to talk about this.
Well, right, exactly. We're just the whole stated purpose of this. It's just two guys having a conversation. I mean, some of this stuff, there's some stuff that we are relatively well informed about. This probably isn't one of them.
We like to bring attention to the topics so that other people can talk about them in more depth.
And I know hunting is always a tricky one. I didn't know there's people that's going to get pissed about that.
So don't if someone else doesn't agree with you, don't be like, oh, you're an idiot kind of thing. Listen to their point of view and have a good conversation as opposed to just an argument.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment.
Yeah, I mean, can you comment on the other platforms?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I
suppose that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey,
if you could, comment on music.
And now you can respond to us on Twitter.
Yep. There's going to be hopefully a Christmas post, relating to the topic we just discussed, up this week.
Yeah, not a post at Christmas, although we may do one of those as well.
So if anyone does want to give us their 5 pence, then you can absolutely do it there.
Is that how you say it in the UK? Like when you're asking for somebody's thoughts, do you say 5 pence?
I think it's 5 pence. When I was saying it, I was like, is that the right word? It's something very similar to that. I think it is that.
In the US, we say 2 cents.
Oh yeah, that's probably it. And I think I just got that.
you just made it more British.
I did. I English-fied it, which is hilarious because normally it's Americanized. I did the opposite.
Yeah. Which is interesting because there was a TV show. Sorry, this is the last thing I'll say because we're near the end anyway. But there was a TV show I was watching. TV show is called Mad Men. One of my favorite TV shows. But it's set in the 1960s. and mostly in an office environment. And there's a point where the office is taken over by the company's bought out by a British company, and at the time the phrase, like, if you're going to give somebody like a quick tour of something in the US, you'd say, like, do you want the nickel tour, right?
Right, yeah.
So 5 cents. And this one British guy, he's kind of like the office admin, is offering to show the British executives that were over investigating or inspecting the company, just seeing how things were doing. He's like, "Shall I give you the 3-penny tour?" And I was wondering, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, is that like kind of? It's interesting how we've talked a lot about US versus UK, but
I'm surprised he would have said 3-penny instead of threepence.
Well,
because that's something that used to be said.
Yeah, I mean, but in the 1960s, I mean, that was only 50 years ago.
Wait, 50 years ago?
60 years ago. Oh my God, it's 2020 already.
Yeah, I was like, hang on, numbers?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the 90s feel like they're still 10 years ago, but they're 20. Oh well, okay. This is we've honestly covered quite the gambit this time.
Yeah.
But I guess Any final thoughts before we close out for the podcast?
I thought I did quite good final thoughts on with the whole "don't be an asshole" comments.
All right, there we go. That's it. Final thought: don't be an asshole. All right, this is the end of the TMCJ podcast, episode 13. Thank you all for listening, and we hope that you will come back and listen to us again soon.
Have a good week.